Hi, so is Naomi. You know what? Oh, there it is, my phone. I was looking for it so I could check the comments. I am going to talk about a little topic about Ms. Kate Middleton and Ms. Meghan Markle and the energy of July and August and September and astrologically what all that means. And I'm going to be pulling out cards as I talk. I'm going to try to look at comments at the end of the video, but I'm going to just talk through this. I wanted to do this as a pre-recorded video, but I decided just to do it as live since I haven't been doing any lives lately. So yeah, let me just get on to my other channel so I can view this with the comments and stuff. I'm going to be talking about why both Kate and Meghan actually have something very much in common with social climbing, leveling up, etc. And I have some articles written about Kate to accentuate this and why that's not a bad thing and what people can learn from that. Okay, let's just see. Let me just get onto my channel. The video quality on this isn't as great as my tablet. Like, honestly, my tablet does better, like a better quality. But I wanted to do a live, and the laptop does lives better. So if you would like your own reading, I would like to say, just going to plug my readings. You can go to naomitarot.com. The sale this month is $40 for 2 questions or $55 for 3 questions. I have sales every month. That's the sale this month, and it runs until July 31st. I am also offering life coaching sessions. They're listed on the website on a different tab. And I also offer spells and incantations that I do for you. So like I record the video of the spell like I do with the readings and etc. And you can re-watch it and do it at home too. So that's how I do that. And I do it for you, and then you can follow along. Send me an email at naomitarot1199@gmail.com. If you would like a private reading and you don't understand what's on the website, you can ask me questions about readings in the email. And I want to say as a disclaimer, I'm not responsible for any actions that people take after my readings. There are no fixed outcomes to any predictions I make. These readings are for entertainment purposes only. I don't claim them to be fact, but if you resonate with them, then it's the spiritual truth within you that's subjective. It's not fact, though. And just for disclaimer, some of these things I will say in the video about some people and how I feel they talk about other people, it's not directed towards anybody in particular. So you can save yourself the time of, when you view this later, writing comments like, Naomi, why did you say that about me? I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just speaking in general. I may have some people in mind when I'm thinking of tarot reading and some ridiculous tarot readings that I see, but I'm not really referring to any reader or commenter in particular. I am inspired by things that I see and then my own viewpoints and why I put it on the channel, and that's really all it is. It's not directed towards anybody in specific. Not to offend anybody, but I don't think about any one person that much to really care enough to make a whole video about one person that said something. So anyways, I'm just going to get to the point now. So let's start off by saying, and I have my glasses here, so later I could read the comments because I'm blind, like reading stuff without them. So, because usually I'm like holding the phone up to my face or going to the laptop screen like that. So I'm prepared. And in the background, you see my, my family pet. She's laying right there, but she's very good. She's not going to make any noise. She's a Jack Russell, but she's unusually calm for that type of dog. She's sleeping in the back on my bed. So anyways, we're going to talk about the concept of leveling up, or you could call it self-improvement, both inner and outer, so physical and spiritual and emotional, and how that applies to July, August, and September. And we're also going to be talking about how Meghan Markle leveled up, how Kate Middleton also leveled up, and how they both, to an extent, social climbed, and how instead of being upset about that, we can take inspiration from that type of behavior. I like to look at the positive rather than the negative. No, I'm not a Pollyanna, but I'm also not jealous nor insecure, and I really, quite frankly, don't care what other people do, as long as it's not something horrible and illegal. I don't really care. So I try to take the positivity from things and use inspiration for that. So that's just a little more about me and my personality. I am an Aquarius moon, so we're very open-minded. We're kind of like live and let live type of people. That's why we're like that. So anyways, let's just see. How is July, August, and September going to be? Just give us, okay, so that's July. July, this month is talking about new cycles, getting ready for new cycles. August, look at that, Leo. The Strength card, that's Leo's month, and it came right out. So it's accentuating the message that I'm going to give you guys. And then September talks about the moon. September is going to be very emotional somehow. So maybe September is going to be about either finding out some kind of secrets or some kind of deceits or deceiving, or realizing the truth within yourself and learning what to trim out of your life, what to keep in your life, how to improve your life. But it's intuitions of some kind you're going to come to the realization of. Okay. So, and the theme is this month. Look at that, Cancer, the Chariot. That's the theme going forward. So pretty much most of the months that we're talking about already represented themselves. Yeah. So what do I think when I look at these cards? Okay. Everybody who is watching. So this is a universal message for every sign who's watching. It's accentuated by maybe, Cancers, Leos, and then maybe Virgos who are watching because Cancer is July, Leo is August, Virgo is September, and that's the 3 months I'm talking about. But it doesn't mean that if you're not those signs, it doesn't resonate with you. It's going to resonate for everybody who's watching because I'm doing a universal reading. It's also coming from my own intuition, not just the cards I'm pulling. We're preparing for a new cycle right now in the summer. This is what we do in the summer. So while we have fun, we go on vacations, we spend time with family, maybe we just more lighthearted in the summer months. There's also a preparation that's going on for the new cycle in the fall. When we talk about the Wiccan rule, I can't talk today. When we talk about the Wiccan wheel of the year, right? You don't have to be a Wiccan to understand this. I'm not really. I'm like more so a solitary witch, but I believe in that kind of stuff. And I still believe in Christian principles. So you can kind of call me a little bit of a Christian witch. It is possible. But anyways, when we talk about, for instance, the Wiccan wheel of the year, there is the dark half and there is the light half. We're in the light half right now, but the light half is in preparation for the dark half. This signifies the cycle that we're currently in, and the cycle, as all cycles, where we're going to turn into when it starts to get dark out, and that's right around Scorpio, where we fully go into that new cycle of the dark half of the year, which Samhain marks, which was on Halloween and is the original New Year. It makes a lot more sense because it has to do with the days getting darker right at Halloween and the days being lighter in those spring and summer months that are after that dark half, when it starts in Halloween and then ends, kind of around February. It starts to end, but it really ends right on May Day on Beltane. So those are our main holidays, is Beltane and Samhain, for a reason. They follow the tides and changes of the season. And I know if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, it's opposite, and I'm not, and that's certainly, you can celebrate it opposite, but these ideals and these customs were started in countries, mainly Celtic countries, when we're talking about Wiccan, was based on mainly Celtic belief systems that were in countries that follow a similar weather pattern of like the Northeast United States or the tri-state area. They have similar weather over in England, over in Ireland, that follows a similar pattern. It's a bit milder than parts of the United States, but it's still the same concept where it's darker, colder, the months leading up to the months of Samhain and after, and then it's warmer starting in February, leading up to May and going through the summer. So that's the hemisphere we're really referring to more so when we talk about Samhain, when we talk about Beltane. And it doesn't mean you can't be a Wiccan or celebrate pagan holidays or celebrate any belief systems with old religions, but they were formed in that hemisphere. So that's why it goes like that. So anyways, preparing for the new cycle of Samhain, right? But we're in that cycle of rebirth, of enjoying things, of just having fun, right? But there's also an element of preparation for that dark cycle, because this is the time where we can be outside to do things, where we're enjoying things more. It's the time where we might want to exercise more, lose weight, maybe diet, because there's more healthy foods available to us just naturally in the summer. Of course, in the developed world, we always have foods available to us. But if you really follow the seasons, of course, the summer, based on the truth of what the season is, there's more vegetables, there's more fruits, where we naturally want to eat healthier than when we go in the dark months. We naturally want to eat more things like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of comfort food, rice and beans, mac and cheese, whatever, comfort food, right? In the dark half of the year. But the light half, you're going to want to have more salads, etc. This all has to do with leveling up, because if we talk about the summertime is the best time for exercise, self-improvement, diet, for changing those lifestyle patterns in yourself, to change the inner health of yourself and the outer health of yourself. I would say leveling up in a spiritual level, Scorpio time period, October 31st is probably better, because then you naturally go within, you naturally introspect, you naturally reflect on the soul and the wants you have in life when you're in the darker half of the year, when you're sitting alone, you know, and it's dark out and you're not going outside as much. The leveling up of the outside is more so what we see in the summer months and the spring months. Leveling up, if I'm sure everybody who's watching this knows what that means, but basically it's like a slang term for self-improvement, for getting better and better, for always expecting better for yourself. So the reason why I'm focused on leveling up with the outward self is because the summer is the extroverted time. Now, Cancer is a little bit also of an introverted energy. They could be like both, but they tend to be introverted in the sense that they're very tied to their family, they're very tied to their friends, they're very like attached emotionally to others. And they're very sentimental. And dysfunctional Cancers can be some of the most unstable individuals I've ever met. Not to offend you, because in the positive, you can be some of the sweetest, kindest, most giving people I've ever met. Cancers and Virgos are both the nurturers of the zodiac. I'm a Virgo. But Cancers just generally tend to have more of an introverted personality. Like, let's talk about just healthy Cancers, not negative ones. Like, let's focus on the positive. So they tend to be more nurturing, more loving, motherly, etc. So there is an introverted quality to that, but there also is an extroversion of wanting to bring the loved ones close, wanting to enjoy loved ones that are in your life, wanting to do things with them, activities. Then when we move into Leo at the end of July, Leo is about that masculine energy of self-assuredness, of, you know, caring about your ego, feeding the ego, caring about what you look like, caring about how you present yourself to others, caring about what others think of you. Not in a narcissistic way, that's Leo in the negative, but in the positive way, Leo is very self-confident. Leo is very good about giving to themselves first. Leo is very good about, how do I give back to myself and not just deplete myself to giving to others, which is funny because Virgo and Cancer can be ones that will do that too much. And Leo says, oh no, I'm not going to do that, right? That's a positive of Leo. Leo reminds you to remember who's number one. Unless you have children, and I always say this, unless you have children, you are always, always, always number one. Nobody else is. And some people, they're lucky enough to know this when they're younger. Some people, they learn it by the time they turn 30, like I did. And that was several years ago for me. And some people, it takes a while. They have to figure it out. If you're lucky enough that you already knew this, that's great. If it took you a little while, that's great. And if you still need to learn it, this is the message for you as well, to remember that. Unless you have children, you are always first. And that's what Leo teaches people. Leo is very much an individualistic, self-centered sign of the zodiac. So that energy of Leo is about self-improvement, yes, also with the physical. And it's about getting more in that energy of preparing for the goal achieving of Virgo that comes towards the fall. Now, the fall doesn't actually occur until Virgo is over with. It's funny because people always call Virgo like a fall harvesting sign. Like even Demeter is the representation of Virgo. Virgo is the only sign that has a woman representing it, and the goddess that actually represents her is Demeter. So it's all about bringing in the harvest, and you associate that with like the fall. But Virgo is really late summer. Libra is the marker of fall because Libra is right after the solstice. So when you talk about Virgo and Leo, Leo is preparing all of us to improve those aspects of ourselves, especially physically and maybe socially as well, because Leo is very much about social connections. Hence why you see somebody like Meghan, who was able to get where she got because she knew how to deal with people socially. She knew what she had to do to get where she went, like her or not, she did. That's a great example of Leo energy that knows exactly what it takes to get where they want to go. So the summer is about, how do I, yes, improve maybe the way I look for my own self, or the way I think about things, or the way I treat myself, or the way I put myself first or don't put myself first. How do I level that up in order to get to the goals that I'm going to have for September or late August of Virgo? Because Virgo is all about achieving goals little by little, working towards something. How do I get to that? How do I go forward with the Chariot and get to that? How do I maintain my strength and individualism and individuality? I don't think individualism is a word. I'm not sure. And go into the next cycle. That's going to be Samhain at the end of October, because there's going to be some things probably that I don't like that are going to reveal themselves by September, probably, that I'm going to have to let go of or reorganize in my life or redefine in my life. So that's a little bit of the general reading I have. And I'm just going to look at the comments real quick, but I want to do them at the end. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate all of you. Cheryl, Kelly, Joanna, Lisa, Anna, Eccentricity. I appreciate all of you. And I'm sorry to hear you went through that, Kelly. I hope that you're feeling better and you're okay now. And I always send you positivity. You know, you're such a sweet person on my channel, and you're so supportive all the time. All of you guys are. And I really appreciate you. So I hope that you continue to improve and feel better. So I'm going to get into leveling up and how Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle, because people on this channel love the royal family, are examples of leveling up, and how they may have done it in different ways, but essentially they did the same thing. So you could call like some negative definitions of leveling up, maybe social climbing, or, you know, whatever, or gold digging, etc., etc. But really, it's just different forms of leveling yourself up, depending on what leveling up means to you. So there are different types of people who have a different definition of leveling up. So I'll give examples. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just talking in general. I want to say that again. I don't know really anybody except a few people who watch my channel in person. So it's not really for me to say I know about people who watch my channel. I don't. But I'm just giving archetypal examples of what I'm saying. So the first woman who is very career oriented and very much about her job, and she's fine with that. And that's all she wants to do is work on her career, or she wants to wear the pants in the relationship of the person she ends up with, or she doesn't want a person, she just wants to be by herself. That's fine too. And her idea of leveling up is leveling up to the next level of her career money-wise, right? That's her idea of leveling up. She wants to have a lot of money. Like, they say money doesn't buy happiness. I don't always agree with that. I think it depends on the person, and I think it depends on what you want in life. Because for some people, it may just buy happiness. It doesn't actually buy the happiness, but it buys the things to make them happy. It buys the not having to worry about feeding themselves. It buys the not having to worry about paying for rent and owning something. So money does, to an extent, buy some people happiness. So maybe in that person's view, they're very young soul energy. Money buys them happiness. So they're more of like the archetype of Athena, right? Athena is a masculine energy goddess. She doesn't look masculine, but she has a masculine, achieving, alpha, female, going out there type of energy. So her leveling up would be, how do I get myself, how do I network with people in a career level at this time where it's more active summer energy to get to the next level in my career to hustle some more money? That's a level up for a career woman, more of a masculine left brain energy. Okay. So now let's go to another woman who wants to level up, and let's go to the archetype of, let's see, let me try to think of somebody who's a creative type. Okay, so let's go to the woman who is like the archetype of Minerva. So Minerva was supposed to be like a goddess of like wisdom, and she was very introspective, and she was a little bit more of a crone energy. So like the crone doesn't necessarily mean the woman has to be old, but if it's more of like an old energy, it's like she wants to level up when it comes to her spirituality and what things she knows in life, and she wants to level up her education. So she might spend this time, you know, preparing for how she's going to, what school she wants to go to, or, you know, what class she wants to teach, or what she wants to do academically to level herself up, right? That's an example of leveling up as far as like a Minerva archetype would go. So then there's another woman, and she might want to level up, like, and she's in the archetype of Aphrodite. So, or Persephone, actually. There can be two different types of extreme feminine energy women. A woman who is like a Aphrodite archetype or a Persephone archetype would be somebody who wants to level up so she can find the type of partner who would provide for her. And I would say that people can have combinations of both archetypes combined together to make one archetype of leveling up. So for instance, a Meghan Markle would be like a Aphrodite archetype mixed with probably an Athena archetype. It sounds contradictory, but there's actually a lot of women today like that. And that's a new possibility for women that we didn't see before, especially given her age, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll go into that later. So leveling up for somebody who's just, let's just say just Aphrodite, not combined, but you can combine these. An Aphrodite woman would figure out what type of man it is that she wants to attract, what type of social setting she'd want to attract him in, and what she needs to do with her looks, her behavior, and her overall aura to attract that. And, you know, what she wants isn't necessarily less valuable than what an Athena woman wants. It's just different. I don't bash women for what their personal choices in life or what they want for themselves are. It doesn't make the woman who wants to be a stay-at-home mom and be feminine any less than the woman who wants to be a career woman. It's when another one bashes the other when it starts to become a problem, in my opinion. I don't like that. I think it's very insecure, and I don't promote it on my channel. So the Aphrodite woman will be like, you know, how can she, you know, improve her appearance, to be in a situation, to be with the type of person, to attract the type of person that she feels like would be more of a person who would take care of her, to allow her to be in her receiving feminine energy. Because masculine is achieving, masculine is achieving goals, is competing, is especially financially achieving, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is masculine energy. Feminine is about receiving, being taken care of, nurturing, right? So the Aphrodite is more of like that, how do I receive, and how do I get to that level so I can receive from the type of man that I want? And Persephone is kind of like more of the damaged negative aspect of the Aphrodite archetype, is why I mentioned that, because Persephone is the one that perhaps wanted that, but she's not making the right decisions on what type of men will give that to her. Because, and I say this on my channel, I've said this in older videos, I haven't gone much into divine feminine, masculine as much lately, but what I was saying and what the mission of my website and my channel, a lot of it is incorporating those ideals into what I talk about. So one thing that a very feminine energy woman has to remember to maintain when she finds herself being an Aphrodite woman is not to fall into the Persephone energy, because Persephone in the, I believe it was in the Greek myth, not the Roman, because the Romans conquered the Greeks and then changed the names, like Venus was changed to Aphrodite, or no, Aphrodite was changed to Venus. The Persephone woman was taken by Hades, or taken, I think his name was Hades, or taken to Hades, to hell, and she was taken away from her mother, and then she was taken to be his bride down there because she didn't have the defenses archetypally, you have to take this archetypally, not literally, to ward off his toxic masculinity. He was not a positive example of a masculine provider. He was the example of one that overtakes the feminine and rapes her. So figuratively, how do you translate that rape and abduction into how that translates archetypally into a woman who has a Persephone energy? A woman who has a Persephone energy wants those types of things that the Aphrodite woman wants, but she doesn't have enough boundaries, and boundaries are masculine energy. She doesn't have enough of the masculine energy to help protect her, because we live in a world that is very left masculine brained. And because of that, if somebody is a very feminine energy woman, she will not thrive as much if she doesn't have some level of boundaries. Wanting a provider, there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting to be in her feminine energy and not necessarily have to go out and, you know, build and do the 9-to-5 thing, Nothing wrong with that, but she has to remember to have some level of boundaries on who she's attracting into her life. So that's the Aphrodite woman. So you can take all of those archetypes that I just listed, the Persephone, Aphrodite, the Minerva, and the Athena, and you can take each one and combine them with the other. One woman doesn't have to be just a one-dimensional Athena or a one-dimensional Aphrodite. She can be many different things if she's okay with that. Now I'm going to get into what I'm talking about with Meghan Markle and with Kate Middleton. She can be those types of things combined if she's okay with that. If she really feels like she can do it all. If she really feels like she's the type of woman that I can do it all. I'm a third wave feminist and I can do it all and I can achieve it all and I've got it all. That is great. If a woman's really happy with that and she can really do it all, good for her. 110%, great. Work a full-time job, take care of kids, clean the house, make the food, take care of the husband. And if she's really happy with being both Aphrodite and Athena, 100%, good for her. But I find that a lot of women today are not happy with having to be both. So there comes a time when it's not necessarily all about the woman having to choose that I have to be this one or I have to be that one. If she's happy with being both, then let her keep being both. But I don't find that a lot of women are happy with having to fill both roles because of the way that, unfortunately, third wave feminism and men's own complacency. Let's not make them innocent little victims that don't do anything, because it's not all feminism's fault, but it is partially. Third wave feminism and complacent men who have taken advantage of some aspects of third wave feminism have made things for women where they feel like they have to be both of those roles at the same time, which is no human can 100% do that at the same time being fully happy, in my opinion. So Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle are examples of women who were able to utilize some aspects of Athena and some aspects, mostly of Aphrodite, I feel, to their advantage. And they did it in totally different styles, but they both essentially, when it comes down to it, did the same thing. Now, negative labels for this are social climbing, blah, 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 like gold digging, etc. People usually throw at Meghan, but essentially these women both did the same thing. They did it in a different way. And I'm going to explain the background of Kate, because most people know background of Meghan because it's regurgitated in the media so many freaking times you don't want to see it anymore. Just a little rant of mine, and I'm sick of seeing it. But anyways, I'm going to read a little bit more of Kate's background and levels she got to and levels she went to get to where she was with William. And I'm not reading it because I'm knocking her. I don't knock women like this actually at all. And that's the whole purpose of this video, is as inspiration on how you too can level yourself up, and why each woman's level up is another step in a positive direction for the rest of us. Now, it doesn't mean that we're all going to marry a prince. That's not what I'm talking about. But it does mean that what they signify archetypally, these two women, especially Meghan actually, is actually something much more positive than the negative stuff that keeps being spun about her. So to start off, first off, I'm going to read a little bit about Kate. And I'll talk about astrologically how that ties into her as well, why she acts the way she does. So I'm going to read a little bit about Kate. Okay, so this was an article that was written, How You Can Do a Kate. Follow the Wisteria Girls' golden rules if you want to climb the social ladder and marry up, says Anna Coogan. Written 3rd May 2011. So this was very much before Meghan, by the way. And it's interesting, they use some of the same language to talk about Kate, but now it's all being thrown on Meghan. Kelly, thank you so much for suggesting, by the way, the thing about the goddesses. I actually got, and I'll give Kelly credit, she gave me the idea to talk about the goddesses. I've been doing a lot of archetypal work over the years with goddesses, and, you know, because I do incantations and stuff like that, etc. But Kelly gave me the idea to incorporate talking about goddesses in the video. So I appreciate that, Kelly, because that was a very good idea. That's something that I even do myself all the time. And I just didn't think to mention archetypes of specific goddesses that I've utilized in my life or related as metaphors to women until today. And the idea was from Kelly. So, Nora, I'm glad you got to join us too. And hi, Anne. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Sandy. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next part of what I was saying. So I'm going to read a little bit of the article, just backing up what I'm trying to say. Kate Middleton's family bought their furniture while William and his aristocratic friends inherited theirs, along with a lot of family silver too. Yet snobbery surrounding Kate's background hasn't stopped her climbing to the top of UK society. This was written, mind you, in 2011. Kate and her sister Pippa have been dubbed the Wisteria Sisters because they are highly decorative, terribly fragrant, and with a ferocious ability to climb. So are there any rules for young Dublin women who want to do a Kate and marry up? Someone has to marry the rich, handsome men of this world after all. Now, again, you guys, I'm not saying take this literally. Like, if you want to, go ahead. Do exactly what Kate did or Meghan did. I'm using this as an archetypal example of how you can just improve yourself in general, depending which goddess archetype you resonate with the most, or which combination you resonate with. How do you level yourself up? That's what I'm talking about, not follow them literally. There will always be women who lunch instead of working and lounge on yachts. Truman Capote wrote, "If you want to ride swiftly and safely from the depths to the surface, the surest way is to single out a shark and attach yourself to it like a pilot fish." The shark is, of course, a man on his way to the top, and the targeted male is very often the business or works in TV or entertainment industries, so he improves a woman's exposure to other famous people. If, like Imelda Marcos, you believe nouveau riche is better than no rich, there are some ways to improve your chances of getting within fluttering distance of someone of substance, status, success, showbiz, fame, serious credit, etc. You are who you hang out with. Wisteria women like Kate make friends with people of loftier social standing to improve their chances of climbing the ladder. They only need one celebrity friend to get them over the threshold of resonance and crystal to party with the young and beautiful. You are what you say. You are where you holiday. You are how you look. If a socially ambitious woman's family hasn't yet acquired a summer home of their own, she will network with people who have holiday retreats. Aspirational women know their appearance is a compliment to a person. You are what you do for a living. A job may improve your chances of climbing the social ladder. Kate Middleton's mother, Carol Middleton, for example, worked as a flight attendant when it was posh to do so. It may be working in public relations and promoting events and organizations along the lines of the Dublin Horse Show or the Dun Logair Yacht Club. This was written by somebody in Ireland, obviously. What you are, what role you take on, a pretty parvenu waste no time on people. Parvenu. Waste no time on people who are of no use and invest hours into anyone, as Kate did, who can get ahead in work. Leave her a few at will and introduce her to the right people, anyone with power and success. She's terrifically obsequious and marvelous confident, should there be a payoff. She is a marvelous confidant, should there be a payoff. And this was somebody who had a similar opinion of Kate. This is just to share as an example. She had a similar opinion of Kate as people are having an opinion of Meghan right now. So it's just to go to show that given any situation where a woman who doesn't have as much money finds better for herself and marries a man of means and marries a very top tier, because a prince is pretty much as high as you can get besides a king, a man of means, there will be people who maybe out of mores and ideologies they have been brainwashed to believe in by society, maybe by inner insecurity and resentment and jealousy, will say things about any woman in any circumstance, labeling them things like that. That article actually was supportive of it and saying, how can you get this because she got it? But there were people when she was first dating William who were bashing her, calling her a social climber and a gold digger, just like there are people with Meghan doing that as well. So it's really, I mean, it's two sides of the same coin. So I would say that Kate is much more traditionally of an Aphrodite woman. Meghan is that combination of the Athena with the Aphrodite. I think Meghan is very happy doing just her mothering and her creative pursuits, and even what she was interested in when she was in college, if I'm not mistaken, photography was very feminine energy. I mean, anything in the arts and the creative things, if you're passionate about that, that's all right-brained, which is feminine energy. Meghan was much more of like that combination, the Athena with the Aphrodite, where she had, you know, these other like things that she wanted to, goals for herself and hustling for herself. Not that Kate didn't do that, but it was more along the lines of feminine energy. And then at the same time, she still wanted to find a man who could take care of her, who could be the utmost provider, etc. She had that combination. And she probably a long time ago, I can't get inside her head because I don't know her, but she saw her mother. She saw the man that her mother picked, and what ended up happening with her mother was a single mother, had to do everything on her own, had to take care of everything on her own, had to struggle on her own. And she probably thought to herself, you know what? I admire my mother for doing this, but I don't want to have the same struggle. I want somebody who has his shit together, who's going to do for me because I'm the woman, but I still want stuff for myself. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And that is the archetype of a woman who embraces both Athena and Aphrodite together, but isn't trying to do it all. The negative flip side of this type of Athena Aphrodite woman is one that actually is trying to do it all. And we see this a lot in our culture. And I think this is what Meghan didn't want for herself and why she aimed so high. And Kate, at the same time, didn't want that for herself and aimed so high as well. They both did the same thing. It's just that one energetically is much more in her feminine energy. The other one has more of a balance of the right and the left brain, which is Meghan. Kate is much more on the right. And that's not an insult at all. Like I said, masculine energy is not a bad thing. Like I said, women who are very feminine energy need some masculine energy for their boundaries. It's not, masculine energy is not bad for a woman to have. So I'm not bashing Meghan by saying that. And I'm not saying, oh, poor Kate, because she's all feminine, mostly feminine energy. I'm just saying it's different, but they did the same thing. So a woman who is really trying to do it all, who has that Athena and Aphrodite energy, and is not with a man who can let her resonate in her feminine. What does a woman like that end up having to do in life? Well, I'll give some examples. I'm not going to name their names, but I have some friends who are married who are dealing with this. I've heard a lot of stories. When I worked 9 to 5 as a therapist, now I just do per diem, but when I worked 9 to 5 and I was there every day, and I heard women who were maybe married for 3 years and they're seeing the reality of their situation, and they have young children and they're doing all this, they were not very happy. I'm going to be perfectly honest. This is what I'm referring to. They go to work because their husband doesn't have enough to support them to either work part-time or stay home. They come home and they have to clean. They come home and they have to watch children. They come home and maybe they cook too. Maybe they don't cook. Maybe they just heat things up. But they're 50-50. Their partnership that they married into is turning into a 70-30 servitude. So that is not a liberated third wave feminist woman. That is not a woman who is set free by the standards of societies and gets to do what she wants. That is a woman that is chained to not only doing one job, but 2 jobs and 3 jobs. And 9 chances out of 10, you do not see the husband helping as much around the house or with the child care as the woman is. You don't see that. I haven't heard that in my personal life from people that I know that have dealt with this. I'm sorry, I haven't heard it. Now, if the couple is child free, they don't want kids. I also have a friend like that who's child free and married and very happy. That's different. They're a partnership. They both pay the bills. They both work full time. They don't want kids. She doesn't have any extra burden that women get a lot of times, dealing with work plus a child plus house care plus et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the same thing. That's not what I'm talking about. What we see, though, of women of childbearing age, or ones who want children, or ones who have children, or ones who are older who had to deal with that, is this servitude to being this Athena plus this Aphrodite. And then the husband is wondering why, and I used to hear this in therapy sessions when I counseled couples, the husband is wondering why, oh, she doesn't want to have sex with me. Oh, she doesn't want to be intimate with me. Oh, she doesn't want this. Well, maybe if she wasn't doing 3 jobs, then she would want that more, you know? And then the woman is feeling resentful, burnt out. Her looks are starting to fade. She's not doing well with keeping herself up because she's so burnt out and stressed out. Nobody can 100% be an Aphrodite and Athena all the time. Now, they can have those qualities within them, like somebody like Meghan Markle. She has both of those qualities. But what she did is, and I think it was partially from looking at what her mom had to go through, she recognized them and she said, which one am I going to go with a little bit more, though, to get to a place in life where I don't have to burn the candle at both ends? And that's why she always expected the best for herself. And that's why she social climbed and gold digged to get to where she went. And I say that in air quotations because I'm sorry, I don't label her that way, and I never did. And even if she did, then good for her. Even if I do want to label it that way, good for her. But yeah, so anyways, no woman, my whole point is, unless she's really, truly, and she self-examines within herself, is she really happy with that? Most women are not doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs while their husband does 1. It is what it is. And I've heard this from therapy clients. I've heard it from coworkers who were working as therapists who were sick of it. I was married for all of like a few days and I had to go get an annulment. I don't like to share too much about my personal life. He did something where you can't recover from, so I had to end it. So I haven't been married long term or had like a full marriage. I would like one. It hasn't happened for me yet. But you know, I expect more for myself. You should expect more for yourself, whoever watches this video. And this astrological season especially is about that preparation when we go into the winter. And how are you going to level yourself up? How are you going to improve your life in these active, extroverted summer months where you can get your shit together before it starts to get dark out, before you're inside more, before it starts to turn into that introspective spiritual energy of the winter? The winter is more spiritual after Samhain. The summer is more ego, more extroverted, except for that Cancer energy of kind of like being close with family, friends. It's still got that ego energy of Leo coming in. How can you do that? So that's why the theme of this video is leveling up. Leveling up, and how do we take inspiration from Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle to level up, right? So whether it is, as I said, if you're just into your career and that's all you care about and you're leveling up is the next level of your career, good for you. Do that. That's your level up. If your level up is about liking your career, but also wanting to find a man worthy of you, if he wants you to have a life with him, if he wants you to do, you know, some of those more domestic maternal things, well, how is he going to take care of you? What's he going to do for you? And how do you need to level yourself up to get there? What if your level up is just about how do you gain more spirituality, more wisdom? How do you become more spiritually enlightened? Then you're more of a Minerva type. It just all depends on what your personal self-improvement is. That's what level up means. How are you going to personally improve yourself? And, you know, Kate and Meghan both show that. And, you know, maybe according to what some people have read and speculations, Meghan didn't always do it in the nicest way. I don't know if any of that's fact. That's why I don't really do readings on that kind of stuff. I briefly did at the beginning of this channel because like I've said many, many times, I was with an ex who had a kind of negative energy and he was influencing the negativity of the readings. I don't blame everything all on him because I'm a grown woman in my 30s and I can make my own decisions, but he was influencing things. When you're intimate with somebody, they influence you. So, you know, since I took him out of my life, I'm back to my more positive, supportive self for other women. Therefore, that's why you see these videos much more in support of her, what she represents, how she's really not all that different from Kate, and why the tone has changed. But it was only all of 3 months of my channel that was like that. This channel has been on for a little over a year, and it was maybe 3, maybe 4 months maximum where it was more negative. So anyways, back to the point. Your level up is personal. It's what you want for yourself, and it's what your overall goals are. But I will go back to saying what I said before. Trying to be a Athena and trying to be an Aphrodite, 50%, 50%, especially if you're going to get married or you are married and have children. If you're in that situation and you're trying to be Athena with Aphrodite, that's going to be hella difficult. I'm sorry. And I would be very surprised if you can come and tell me that you're 100% happy with that. So you got to pick It's kind of picking which one you want to be more dominantly. And Meghan said, you know what? I want to be more Aphrodite. So I'm going to find a really successful guy. I'm going to expect the best of myself, because if I'm going to have a child, he's going to take care of me. I'm not going to have to bust my ass and like do all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. He's going to take care of me. Kate said that too, but Kate didn't have as much of that Athena energy coming in. She was more so just naturally Aphrodite, but it's still the same thing. I'm going to do this. Her mother probably taught her, Carol Middleton, because this is going to be the best for me. I don't think she necessarily expected she'd end up marrying Prince William, but I'm pretty sure she did expect that she would marry a wealthy man, because she expected the best for her, because she wanted the best for her children, because she didn't want to have to slave away, killing herself, doing all these extra tasks that the modern woman is now expected to do. And as I said before, there's nothing wrong with being a career woman, but having all the extra responsibilities thrown on a woman when the man is just doing one thing is not equality. It's not. That's not equality. And that's why I consider myself more of a first wave, partially second wave feminist, but I'm not really third wave. Third wave is a little out there for me. I'm not really. I definitely believe men and women are equal, but we're very different. So yeah, that's what the video is about. And I thought it was great to share, because I kept getting this message of, why does summer represent productivity? Why does it represent self-improvement more than the winter does? Why is winter more spiritual? And then I got these like answers within my mind. And then I thought about Kate and Meghan and how it relates to them. Well, I'm glad that you guys love this channel. And there's women who do specific channels about dating advice and leveling up. And it's just about dating. One of them that I watch is single. The other one is married. I don't believe everything they say, and I don't promote everything they say on the channel, like just trying to level up for money's sake, for only caring about somebody's money. I'm not along that lines, but I think that what these women have to say in general as an overall universal truth is very valuable. So I continue to watch these women, and I continue to appreciate their knowledge, but there is a lot of female YouTubers who just do dating videos purely on that whole concept. And it's just about dating, not astrology and archetypes, like what I put a spiritual thing on it, and mine's more about attaching it to an archetypal energy and which one would you rather be. And I also talk about career women too. I'm not just about leveling up for a man. If you're more of an Aphrodite woman, I talk about the Athena women too. So that's what's a little different about my channel, is that those channels tend to only speak about Aphrodite women, but I think they're very valuable because they remind women of their worth, and they remind you that you don't have to do it all. Nobody says that you have to do it all. It's not your responsibility to do it all, and it's not fair. So that's what I like about those women's channel, though I don't agree with every single thing they say. I think they're very valuable for existing and for making their channels. But if you type in something like level up dating or improve social status or something with leveling up dating, you'll find other female YouTubers like that. So let me just see what the comments. Okay, Tammy, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I wasn't going to look at the comments till I was almost done. So I'm trying not to, because it interrupts the flow of me talking when I'm trying to explain something especially if I'm really passionate about it. And then I go in the comments and I try to read them, then it interrupts like my whole message. So that's why I glance and I say, thank you for coming, but I'm trying just to answer questions at the very end of videos now. So I go through it at the end, but I see your comment. And thank you. I appreciate the compliment. And yeah, I mean, the children shopping, cleaning, etc., 70%, that's a big phenomenon nowadays. And it's really important to talk about it with other women, because even though I was only like tactically married for a few days and had to have an annulment, I don't like to go too much in my personal life, but to give examples that I know what I'm talking about, I had to deal with that shit years ago. And that was before we made it legal. And then I had to go backpedal and get rid of it because something happened, and I'm not going to share TMI. It was years ago. I'm over it, but it was enough to say, oh, hell no, and get an annulment. But I had to deal with that shit. I had to do the 70-30 shit. And I've heard other women who had to do it too. So this is why I know it's bullshit. Okay. And that's why I'm talking about it. And that's why I feel like it's so important to share it with other women, to remind them, because I've spoken to friends about it. And they're like, you know what? You're right. They're not even thinking of it because it's just expected of us now. It's expected of us. And it's sad. That's not what equality is about. Equality is not about women having to do 3 jobs while a guy does 1. That's not equality. It's more equal, actually, for the woman just to stay home and him to work, because then she has an actual job, staying home, taking care of the kids, and he has a job. Not she's a career woman, plus she takes care of the kids, plus she takes care of the house, and he works. That's what you see in most households, at least where I live, at least in New York. Like, and you're right. And you said, I don't want children as I become an adult, Tammy. Well, that's up to you, and that's your own personal decision. And if that's what you want, good for you, you know? So, but that's why I feel so strongly about this, because years ago, it was about, how many years ago was it? 4 years ago, actually, not 3 years. 4 years ago, I had to deal with that same situation. It was during an engagement that I was doing all of that 70-30 shit. I know what it's like, and never again. And no woman should have to be doing that, you know? So when I talk about things, guys, not everything I talk about I've dealt with, but there's a lot of things that I talk about that I've had experience with, and that's why I feel the way I do about them. So, you know, you learn, you know? So that's all. Well, Larry, it has been just, the family structure has been destroyed, but at the same time, men who are taking advantage of it, I don't like to throw it all on women, men who are taking advantage of it and acting like, what do you bring to the table? This is what they ask women on dates a lot of times. What do you bring to the table? Like, how are you going to build with me? Aren't helping the situation either. But then asking that same woman to have their child, they're not helping the situation either, because they're expecting, as I just said, a woman to have 3 jobs when they have 1. Because we all know that childcare is going to primarily fall on the woman. So, oh, thanks, April. Yeah, I try to talk from a place of experience without giving too much details, because I am a little, even though I have a YouTube channel, I'm a little private because I'm Scorpio ascendant, but not so private, because I like to feel like people don't feel like I'm a hypocrite, like I know what I'm saying. So, well, that's good. I appreciate you for saying that, Larry. And, you know, that's really admirable that you're able to do that. I know somebody else who is as well. I used to work with them when I was doing counseling full time. Somebody who is a single father because his girlfriend passed away. So really, ultimately, it's just, I guess the theme of this video is just a toss-up. It's, what do you want for yourself personally? Which archetype do you see yourself in? Which combination of archetypes, if there's a combination? And how are you going to get to that level? How are you going to self-improve yourself to get to that point? So if I'm more of just the career type, how am I going to level up to get to that point? If I'm both, and I really want both, how am I going to get to that point? There are some women who are fine with doing all that. I said this earlier. Good for them if they are, but then there's a lot who are not. So how am I going to get to that level to level up both and get all those things and do all those things? How am I going to get to the point where I level up to find the type of man that is going to give me those things so I can be more in, you know, the feminine, right? How are you going to get to those points? How are you going to level up this summer going into September to do that? And you still have a little bit of September to do it before Samhain anyway. The fall does not come until September 21st. That's when the solstice is. We don't have a solstice means we're still in the summer. So even though everybody thinks September is the fall, it's not. Most of the month isn't. Okay, hi, Welton. You're from Brazil? Anna, well, that's another option as well. And that's a woman who, if there's a relationship where the wife, as Anna's saying, someone I know the wife wears the pants in the family. If the wife wears the pants and she's making the decisions, then if the couple does have children, then the man will take on more of the feminine role. And I don't mean he'll look feminine, I mean feminine energy. He'll take on the role of taking care of the kids. Also, nothing wrong with that, but it just depends on, are they happy with that? Do they want that? I'm not knocking that. That's what probably makes me different than those channels that are just purely about leveling up for materialism. I give different options of leveling up. So, because this is more of a spiritual channel. But if she is very happy with that Athena energy and she wants to be the leader and she's not having to do all the childcare too, or she does do it and she's happy with it, or if they don't want kids and she wears the pants. Actually, I have a friend like that. That's great for her. I have a friend who's child-free and she makes most of the financial decisions. They both work, but she makes most of the decisions and she's more of like an Athena type. Nothing wrong with that, but it's if the person wants that and is happy with it is what I'm talking about more so. And what I meant with that 70-30 thing is that you see women, the ones who do want children or who have young stepchildren, because it doesn't always have to be their own kids. It could be that they have young stepchildren and they're having to deal with all of that stuff at once because the guy is asking her, what do you bring to the table? What do you do for me? What are you going to give to me? But then he expects childcare plus house care plus cooking plus working. Like, come on. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of what women are dealing with that I do hear from. Yeah, that's true. Larry, I've been learning a lot about feminine and masculine energy. Both need to be functioning properly in order to create and sustain attraction. Yeah, that is true. Especially if they want those more traditional roles, then yeah, they need to know, the woman needs to know how to maintain her feminine and not be too in her masculine. And the man needs to know how to maintain his masculine. And then if the roles are reversed and the woman wants to be the leader, then she would just be in the masculine and the man would have to take on more of the feminine role. So I guess it could work either way, but yeah, traditionally for them to be together and harmonious, that would be the case. But yeah, so the big thing that marks this, that 70-30 imbalance dynamic is more so when people have kids or they have young stepchildren that it kind of throws it off. Because I've noticed like a trend, especially like the two child-free couples that I know, that child-free is in the sense that it's not that they can't have them, they don't want them. The two child-free couples that I know, they're really happy and they both work full time. But that's because they both just take care of business and they both just pay bills and they're partners. There's nobody really doing more of the work than the other, but they're basically just roommates and partners. That's different. So what throws the equilibrium off more so is when the children and all this other stuff gets loaded onto the woman on top of a job and then the man's just working. That's what this is more so about, referring to the 70-30 thing. So that's it, I guess. And then Kate and Meghan, as I said earlier, to tie into this, they're just an example of women who wanted better for themselves and got it. They leveled up. Theirs had to do with a relationship level up, not a job level up. But there's women who have job leveled up too. Let's see an example of a woman who did that with career, and she was more career oriented. Well, there's a lot of examples of women who did it in career. There was a woman who, Well, there's a lot of examples of women who did in career because the US is very much about achievement within the career as well, and individualism and individuality. So that's why you hear more so about career leveling up than you do the other type, because we're very much a country about like hard work. But I guess there's a lot of examples of women who did. J.K. Rowling, Oprah. There was a woman who, she was African American, and it was like in a time where nobody thought that she would be able to have her own business. I think it might have been in the 1800s. I should look her up. She was selling cosmetics that she made at her home door to door, and then she had this multi-million-dollar company. She was like the first female African American entrepreneur. And she wasn't Caribbean. She was like from the US, and she sold cosmetics. I forget her name. I saw a whole show about her. And she sold cosmetics door to door and then leveled herself up with career. So that's what I'm trying to say. There's different examples of different types of improving yourself. Oh, yeah, that's her name. I think. Let me just double check because I don't want to say it and then be wrong on my channel. Virgo, I don't like to be wrong. Okay, yeah. Well, April just said that her name was Madame C.J. Walker. Yeah, that was the lady that sold the cosmetics. And she literally started from like the bottom to like do that. I thought that was really cool because of the time period and everything. But yeah, there's different examples of that. So I guess that's it. Let me see. How long has this been going for? A little over an hour. Okay, that's usually when I stop when I do lives. Okay. Okay, so some people who are watching or who will watch this video may have experienced some level of disappointment or loss of something in the past that they had to ultimately reflect upon, or they do still need to reflect upon and let go of. Five of Cups, Five of Hearts. Being stubborn, like the Emperor reversed or the Aries reversed, Aries energy reversed, stubborn, pig-headed, overly like obsessed with your own opinion, not accepting the truth of something, that's not going to work. You need to come to a point where you're in touch, like the King of Hearts or King of Cups, with your intuition. You understand yourself. You understand what you need in life. You understand what works for you, what doesn't on a spiritual level. You need to come to this realization in order to gain the victory that you're looking for, because you feel like you're not getting it, right? There's a lot of Six of Wands reverse. It's like you feel like it's not coming for you. And it's about processing this Ten of Swords energy, this ruin, this depression, sadness, etc. It's about processing through that and not stubbornly holding on to the past, accepting the new, trying to manifest the new for yourself, trying to accept that there's a new chapter. See, manifesting with the Magician, the ability to manifest, finding balance, maybe legal contracts, lovers. So manifesting balance, maybe having to do with a romantic relationship with somebody else, or that you would find something better with somebody else or something akin to that. The reason why I'm saying that is the Lovers. So all right, so I'm going to get off of here, but thanks for watching, you guys. And I appreciate all of you that support me in the channel and watch, because I see a lot of familiar faces, but then I see some new ones sometimes. And I appreciate everybody who's been watching since a long time ago, because a lot of you I've seen for a while. And I'm just skimming really quick through the comments again to see if there's anything that I can comment on before I go. Well, I'm glad that I don't know if you're still watching, Cecilia. You had the very first comment. I'm sorry. Love you too. And I appreciate that you wanted to get a reading from me and that you felt anybody who gets readings from me, you feel confident in my abilities. I appreciate that. And you're welcome for your reading. So I didn't see that at the very beginning because I go back. All right, you're welcome, guys. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being respectful because I didn't see anybody. I don't know if I missed it, but I didn't see any crazy troll or anything, so that's good. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And, oh, thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I like doing the incantations. That's fun. And you guys watch a video after when I do it. So when I do the spell and the incantation, there's a recorded video, so you can do it at home and you can just keep rewatching it. So I do it for you, like saying your name, and then you can do it at home saying your own name to yourself. But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. And I'll try to do videos more often again. I was taking a little break where I was doing them like once every 5 days, but I'll try to do them like at least every other day. So see you later. Bye-bye.